Hi folks, welcome back to DemonView Drives, where we talk about car repair, upgrades and restoration, and occasionally my complete lack of spatial awareness when it comes to parking spaces. In this video we're going to be looking at car headlights. Now here's the thing, I was out with a friend of mine the other day having lunch. She actually works as a model, she's a very busy person, and all throughout the meal random people would come up to her and tell her what a lovely pair of headlights she had. Now, for me, that was kind of weird because I didn't even know how they could possibly know what type of car she was even driving. It was just weird, man. Anyway, me, being a guy, kind of got a little bit jealous and kind of thought to myself, why can't I have a nice pair of headlights like her? So, with that in mind, I got to thinking, you know what? The headlights in this car, they're pretty scratched up, they're pretty yellowed looking, and honestly, unlike me, they're not going to win any beauty awards. So, should I restore them or should I just replace them? And honestly, you know, that got me thinking, what should you do? Restore or replace these headlights? Well, today we're going to look at that and we're going to see what the options are. So yeah, sit back, relax and enjoy. This is DemonView Drives, and today we're going to be changing these headlights. Hey there folks, welcome to my channel. My name's Ian. I started this channel because I got fed up with paying other people to fix my vehicles. The cost just kept piling up and I thought, hey, why not learn to do it myself? Now here's the thing, I know nothing about cars. Yep, you heard that right, I'm a complete newbie. But I'm willing to learn and I want to take you all along for the ride as I figure this out. I want to be upfront, this is not a tutorial channel, it's more like a journey where I share my experiences, my mistakes, and hopefully my successes as I learn how to fix things. So if you're tired of those expensive repair bills and want to learn with me, hit that subscribe button and join the adventure. So let's get our hands dirty and figure out how to keep our vehicles running without breaking the bank. This is DemonView Drives. Hi there, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be looking at replacing these headlights. Now, some of you may be thinking, why not just clean them and buff them up? And that's an excellent question. You see, using restoration products, that can be absolutely fantastic if you're working with glass headlights. Unfortunately, these are plastic headlights, and plastic headlights are kind of like cheap Tupperware containers. They get scratched up, they get yellowed, they get discolored, and well, unlike Tupperware containers, you can't just throw these in the trash because, well, they're attached to your car. So therefore, we're going to look at replacing them instead. Now, if you have glass headlights, yes, you can use restoration products on them. I've actually done it myself on the DemonView mobile here. And for me, they do actually work. You put the stuff on, you let it set and you polish it off. And I was impressed by the results. However, that does not work on these types of headlights because, like I said, these are plastic. So the scratches and discoloration are pretty much ingrained in them. So therefore, you know, replacing them seems to be a viable option. Now, before we're going to get into how difficult it is or easy it is to replace these, let's get into the costs. Now, I looked this up online and I found out to replace this entire enclosure, not just the bulbs, but the entire enclosure, as that's what's actually discolored, that could cost me anywhere between $350 to $2,000 per headlight. Now, does that sound like a good deal to you, paying $4,000 to have those headlights replaced? I don't think so. Let me show you something. You see, I went online and I got these. It's basically a pair of headlights, the enclosures and the bulbs, and I got them for $157, including shipping. Now, if that's not great value, I don't know what is. So we're going to open these up, take a look at what's in the box, and then we're going to swap them out. We're going to see if this is an easy task worth doing or if you should leave it up to the professionals. Here's a spoiler, I'm doing it. Okay, so it's actually been really cold out here in the Pacific Northwest, and I want to thank you, the viewer, who logged onto the Buy Me a Coffee link and bought me this coffee to keep me both warm and caffeinated for making these videos. Yep, you can use the Buy Me a Coffee link. I'll leave it down below. You can log in, leave a personalized message that you'd like me to read out online, and you get to buy me a coffee to keep me warm and caffeinated. So this week, I want to thank Mike Crack for actually buying me this coffee. Given how cold it is, I have never felt so warm and so filled thanks to Mike Crack. Okay, so a couple of things to keep in mind other than all the bad jokes I'm obviously about to start making. Number one, because we're replacing the headlights of the car, once we start this job, we need to get it done pretty much in one day because let's face it, if we don't get it finished today, it means I could be without a car in the morning time due to not having any working headlights. So that's pretty important. And then I'm also going to change into some slightly warmer clothing because this is a very brisk Saturday morning. There's ice still on the car, so yeah, I'm not going to be wearing this while messing about under the hood of the car because I'd get filthy. And of course you're probably saying, well, why don't you just clean your whole engine bay and car in? Shut up. Okay, so here I am again wearing my favorite Portland cold weather gear. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take a much closer look to see what's actually in this box and see what comes with it when you order these headlights off eBay. Right, so here we are. Here is the big box, and let's see what's in here. Let's turn it around first and cut this fella open. And let's try and practice safety and not have me slit my hands open while I'm doing this. But it's me. It's liable to happen. Thank goodness I've got some nice safety first aid kits. And remember, cutting something, always cut away from you, not towards you. See, you're not just getting car videos, you're also getting safety tips. And here we go. Inside the box, both headlights look like they're actually wrapped separately. And it looks like we got some clippy things and a set of instructions on how to actually install these, okay? Then the actual headlights themselves seem to be fairly well packaged. Whoa, look at that. Wow, look at all that. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, already this is looking fairly complex. But just remember, I've told you this before, I know nothing about vehicles. I don't have any type of degree in electrical things. I don't even like electricity. So, thing is, if I can do this, I think anyone could be able to do this. But this isn't an instructional video. I'm not an instructor. This is going to be a case of you watch me, and if something goes wrong, then you'll know what not to do. But honestly, I don't think it's going to be that hard to do. I think we're going to be able to just pop these in, clip on the connectors. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. And I'm not sure about these exposed wires. I assume there's some sort of like ground or something. It could be just some extra loop there. Who knows? But we're going to find out. This is what the headlight unit looks like. It's actually covered in plastic. Now, I could have gotten one with a black background on it, and maybe that would have looked cooler or something, but I'm not trying to draw attention to myself, so to speak, by having custom headlights on it. I want something that kind of matches the look of the car. So I have a silver car. I wanted these ones with a nice silver reflective background. So that's what I'm going for. So let's kind of take a look at the tools we're going to need. But here's a handy thing, piece of advice first. And I kind of thought about this when I was looking at it. Look to see how the headlights are going to secure into the front of your car. As you can see, we have an actual hole there, so a screw's probably going to go in there. We've got another one up here, so that's at least 2 screw mounting points, and I'm not seeing a third mounting point, a third screw of any type, so this is probably just held in by 2 screw areas, which for me, that makes the whole process a lot easier. When I go to take out the light on the front of the car, I'm not going to be hunting around for hidden screws or bolts down behind the thing hidden. Instead, now I know exactly where to look, because replacement headlights basically are going to have those holes in the same place. So, on to the next step. Let's pop the hood. Now, before I get my toolkit, as you can see, I've got a nice pair of gloves over there. Actually pretty dirty, but I'm just having them out for the time being. And like I said, it is cold. This is not like, this is ice on the lens here, even ice on the window. Like I said, it's a pretty cold, bitter Saturday morning here, so yeah, it's not going to make any difference. Nothing's kind of wet. I don't have to worry about that, but we're going to pop the hood now and take a look underneath. Now, if we take a closer look at what we have going on here, I can see the top screw cover here, like I saw on the replacement headlight, and the one at the front here, and these two are both going to have to come out for me to take this out. The other thing we're going to be doing, and I don't know if you can see it here, but the headlight power couple is just down here, and we're going to take that out before we remove the headlight. That's simply because I don't want to kind of like try and remove the headlight and pull on that power couple, because I don't know how much much of a power lead we have here. I don't want to pull anything, don't want to torque anything, so we're going to just disconnect the power supply. So, out of sheer curiosity, I am going to take a look at the instructions, and thankfully they're in a kind of Ziploc bag, so I don't have to break anything open. Now, the one thing that's going to work against me here is that because it's so cold, my hands are starting to freeze up. And yeah, nothing worse than having to do hardware work when you have cold hands. It makes everything painful, but let's take a look. Remove rubber cap from the leveling adjustment. Use Okay, so I think I'm going to start with what appears to be the easier job, and that is disconnect this bolt here, disconnect this bolt here. I've already pulled the power plug out from the rear, so hopefully that's all I'll have to do here, and this whole unit will just come out. Now, thankfully, these are bolts, not screws, so I should be able to just use a ratchety thingamajiggy what's-it to get this done. 7/16. I think 7/16 will work. Right, so 7/16 should work. Just gonna put that in. Lefty loosey, righty tighty, so lefty loosey. Yep, as I said, I'm a total expert at this and know exactly what I'm doing. Oh, another thing, I don't recall seeing any bolts in that headlight kit. So it might be something to keep in mind, that if you're doing this, don't lose your bolts. You know, I just realized I've got an impact wrench. This probably would have been much faster doing that, but yeah, I got nothing better to do than waste 6 hours of doing a bolt. Oh, it's finger tight now, I think, so I should be able to just pull that out. That is bolt number 1. Okay, bolt number 1 removed. We're on to bolt number 2 here at the front. Both bolts have been removed, so let's see what happens here when we give it a little tug now. Here we go. And yeah, that just actually popped right up. I did have to kind of like bend it a little bit past here. I don't want to have to take that off. I suppose I could take it off to make it a little bit easier, but yeah, not too difficult at all. 2 bolts, and here's the power connector on the back that I had to disconnect. So far, this is actually seeming easy. Almost too easy. Okay then, moment of truth. So, couldn't really make sense of these instructions because everything seems to be kind of already hooked up in a way. So, I spliced all the black wires together, I spliced all the white wires together, and that left a black and white wire, which didn't really have anything to splice to, but we're going to see what happens. And let's see if we can make sure nothing goes, you know, pop. Okay, looks like we got some sort of driving light on there. Looks like we got a headlight on there. Full beams. Ooh. That's not exactly great. So far, I would say that my verdict on these headlights is, you know, not great. There is no reason why these headlights should not be kind of just plug and play. The connections are all here on the back of the Hyundai headlight, and you can just connect it in, but there's a lot of loose wires back there that come with these headlights, and I don't see any reason why they couldn't have been, you know, just stuck together in the factory. When I turn on the turn signal, it is flashing very, very rapidly, which would indicate kind of low resistance, which means that the turn signal light here, it probably needs to be hooked up to something else, but the instructions don't even mention the wire. You've got white wires, you've got black wires, and then you've got a black and white wire, and nothing mentions that wire, where it should go, what should it hooked up to. I mean, does it get hooked up to the black? Does it get hooked up to the white? Can it be hooked up to either? The instructions don't even mention it, and if you go online, you won't even find instructions for it. So far, yeah, it's a bit of a mixed results, but I'm just going to kind of stick with it and see what we can do. Now, even though I'm not too happy with the whole turn signal situation, and I reckon that wiring does need to be looked at, I'm still going to go ahead and swap out the headlights anyway, because as you can see, this is a pretty bad light. I mean, that is just kind of grounding there. If I put some water on it, it looks a slight bit better, but that headlight, you can barely see through it, and I kind of do want brighter headlights at night, or at least stuff that gives me a better view of the road. Now, I've already unscrewed this, and this was kind of interesting because when I did unscrew this bolt here at the top on this side, it was stripped, which means that somebody probably did change headlights at some stage on this thing. And the fact that they stripped the bolt doesn't speak wonders to me. And I'm wondering maybe if this car had some front end damage that was never reported. Now, I will point out the differences between the lights. As you can see how lovely and clear that is compared to what we were driving with. And basically, you're talking about the headlights trying to shine through all of that. And that's just terrible. And that is actually cleaned up. I mean, that is just kind of like all scratched, damaged plastic. That's non-repairable. So that's why we had to go and change these headlights. So kind of got them roughly positioned. Now I'm just going to go and tighten them up. I've noticed on the headlight kits for like 2010 and later, not that much difficulty at all. In fact, they are kind of like just like plug and play. There's no type of wiring to do. So yeah, I just wish that they'd already done the wiring, because let's say the instructions are absolutely useless for that. So like I said, you can do it easily. Yes, it's an upgrade worth doing. I mean, if we do take a look at the instructions they give, it's connect the black wire to the ground wire and connect the white wire to the positive wire. Doesn't tell you which one's which, kind of, so to speak. And the other instructions say connect all the black wires together, connect all the white wires together. So what the hell do you do with the black and white wire? Because you can't connect that to the black wire and the white wire at the same time. You can't, it's just not possible. So I mean, yeah, not really kind of happy with these old, outdated, useless generic instructions. Now there is one last thing that we're going to have to do, and I will have to do that later on when it gets dark, and that is adjust the headlight alignment. The one thing you do not want to do is put new headlights in your car and then not adjust the alignment on them, because otherwise they could be pointing high up in the air, blinding oncoming drivers, or they're pointing too low on the road and therefore they're not lighting up the road ahead. So that's something else you have to do, but luckily it's quite easy because you actually have an adjustment screw on the back here for tilting them up and down, and that's kind of handy, I do admit. Now, what I am happy with is the only thing actually needed for this was a socket set with one socket, really. I did have to use a wrench because one of the bolts was stripped, but other than that, yeah, it was actually kind of very easy to do the whole process. I don't think anyone else is going to have to be like a double jointed circus contortionist to kind of like do this kind of job, because some car engineers / manufacturers, they're just sadistic. They like to put bolts in places you cannot get to. The Hyundai, one at the top, one at the side, so yeah, that was perfectly fine. Once the old headlight was out, it was just a matter of swapping in the new one, connecting those connectors at the back, even though I did have those electrical wire things to get through, which, like I said, still not happy with. But yeah, other than that, they are cleaner, better looking headlights, and you can't deny that. So yeah, I do think this is worth doing. I mean, look at it this way. If you were to take this car and drop it into a mechanic shop, well, first of all, you'd have to book an appointment, and then you'll be given an appointment in, say, 3 weeks later. Then the garage has to order in the parts, which they say will take another 2 weeks. Then they'll say that they're overbooked and that you're gonna have the job like done about another week later, and then, you know, eventually they're going to say, oh, we ordered the wrong part, we have to order the right parts, and they're going to find about 600 other things wrong with your car and try and charge you for them, try and upsell you all that stuff. And eventually, after about 20 weeks after you've dropped off your car, they'll come back and say, yep, it's done, it's fixed, and here's your $4,000 bill. So I do think there is a bit of a cost savings to be had, even if it is a little bit frustrating when it comes to actually replacing your own headlights. So folks, thanks for watching this video. Remember to click those like and subscribe buttons. I hope you did find it helpful. If you're thinking of replacing your headlights, this is what you're going to have to go through. And yeah, tell you what, leave a comment down below if you know where that black and white wire should go, how to solve that kind of blinker issue if you know, and even tell me about the last DIY car job that you did that probably drove you nuts or crazy. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to have to figure out what to do with these old headlights that I have. You know, I'll probably keep them as spares. What I probably will do is try cleaning one of them to show you how well or not so well that doesn't work. But otherwise, maybe I'll turn it into a desk lamp or something. Yeah, let me know if you tune into DemonView DIYs. Until next time, cheerio.